papering over Duel's champion pool because it's Caitlyn and Ashe, and then from there, not really much to speak about when it comes to effective picks. Gragas banned on blue side, so this is on blue and red, targeting comeback, and also Helper to some degree with the Gragas bans.
Well, the Galio is going to be the final one here from Ever8, so Rumble is available if KT want to snatch this one up themselves, but given Smeb's performance there in Game 1, even if he gives over that Rumble, I think that he'd be more than jazzed up to go ahead and enter into a counter matchup. Maybe bring out the Kled, just go for the opposite mirror match like we saw him do versus Huni in 2015, time and time again. Just go back, play the other side of it, and still beat your opponent. But for now, it's going to be nice and ambiguous with the Karma.
And it does mean they passed away with the first pick Smeb, that in another game that perhaps was of higher stakes, they would have reached for. Pawn has played it in the mid lane. Mata can certainly play it in support. Maybe it's time to get the training wheels on and work out some other matchups here. I think if you're a Helper, you have to snap up the Rumble. It's such comfort for the side of Ever8 and Helper in particular, but for now, getting comfort in other places. Comebacks on the map. Italy is going to be considered. It's Ella in support, so it's not going to be comebacks Thresh this time, unless we see a very interesting role swap.
That would be an intriguing one, but now he's playing around with the idea of the Lee Sin. There was a little bit of this thrown into his solo queue, but it was very much dominated by the Nidalee coming through. But maybe thinking a bit better of it, they will take away the Xayah, which Deft played rather well in the later stages of that first game.
Xayah was blind picked when Caitlyn was banned, so a similar priority being placed from the side of Duel. Plenty of champions, including that ever-present Varus available for Deft, so certainly no champion pool concerns there. What do KD want to show us? Will it just be the Rumble draft? The Kha'Zix would be a start and a kind of a nod in that direction. The score is going to be one who's going to say, okay, I'm going to stick on the same champion. I don't want to show anything new. It's always two schools of thought when you have a big match on the horizon. You can try not to show anything new, and you can also mix it up and put doubt into the minds of SKT. As already one excellent game from Mata on the Rakan. Could still see it this game, but switching over the Kog'Maw into Xayah. Very interesting here. It's taking a late game carry into a late game carry. We'll learn a bit more about the laning matchup and see if it's something comfortable you can load in, because we're still learning about Xayah as a pick. A laning dominance, especially without Rakan, is kind of not really there. She's pretty capable in lane without necessarily being able to dominate lane.
Needs to hit that, the multi-items point.
And Deft has always been on the Kog'Maw side of the hyper carries. It was all about Kog'Maw and Jinx. No sign of the Jinx. Kog'Maw this time, and great spot for the Lee Sin from comeback. Definitely got a couple of tools now to try and deal with the Kog'Maw in team fights.
Yeah, try to isolate him. We'll see how Johnny's going to hold up with that one, but now we enter into the second round of picks, and Talia's going to be the first thing taken off the board. So maybe Ever8 looking for something like the Orianna for themselves, Recepted, even though does not have anywhere near a winning record with it.
I could definitely still see KT draft the Orianna and go double shields with Kha'Zix and Kog'Maw as the big threats. So Orianna going to be banned away from KT, so they'd want to try and take away safe blind picks. That kind of suggests more, and maybe we'll see the Karma in the mid lane from the side of KT Rolster. When you look at the champion pool of Scepted, it's been Orianna, Victor, and Syndra as the big picks, and all of those, barring the Victor, have been accounted for already.
While trying to get rid of that Juggermaw composition, they ban away the Lulu, so they can't flex the Karma into mid and have the wild growth on top of it from the bottom lane. Victor, the final ban away here from the side of KT. And one of the picks that we've been seeing banned out, and actually picked a couple times as of late, is the LeBlanc is still on the table.
Yeah, but Scepted's champion pools and tatters, and like you say, Pawn's one-offs this season have been pretty impressive. Specifically, the LeBlanc looked really good the last time he played. Considering between Rumble and Jarvan, and interestingly, Helper will go with the Jarvan for team comp. To see what KT wants to decide about its solo lanes. My first thought, if you have Kog'Maw and the Kha'Zix, was going to be the mid lane Karma for the shield strength. They're playing around with a lot of different ideas here.
Yeah, flipping through. I mean, more than likely going to be looking for that top lane now. So, all right, Braum locked up here for Mata. So the Karma will be in the mid lane for Pawn. So what do they want to take here for Smeb?
I think Shen is an option, but feels bad in the matchup. So maybe something that can push, like the Renekton, might be the smart move. If you go Rumble, you're so brittle that you can kind of be forced down and rushed even through shields, so you need some beef somewhere, and KT have always focused on drafting pushing lanes, so Renekton is a good selection in this case, and also wins the laning matchup against Jarvan, so quite a happy double happenstance there for KT Rolster.
All right, well, final pick now, Ever8. Mid lane, playing around with a Cassiopeia potentially here for Septid. Decent mitigation for Pawn with
Will
the
it finally
shields.
be?
We've been talking this one up, and finally, Papa Smithy, we will have it locked in. The Aurelion Soul for Septid.
The first Aurelion Soul of summer season. We lost Fly, so we thought maybe we'd put paid to all hopes of Aurelion Soul, but Septid was known for this pick, played it a lot in Challenger, also in the promotions from Challenger. Respected for Jace and Aurelion Soul. We've seen the Jace, first sighting of the Aurelion Soul. I'm hyped to see this because we just don't get to see it in Korea very often.
No, we do not. Haven't seen it at all, as you said so far. And this has been one of the big talking points about Septid. Loves running this pick into Syndra, but this time going to be playing it into the Karma. And we get to find out, does the hype, is it justified for this Aurelion Soul?
Will be something that lets him pack up and leave lane and make impact some of these tricky lane matchups for Ever8. Really interested to see how he plays it. You know, Huhi, of course, from the NALCS, one of those great resident Aurelion Souls, but not a lot of other competition out there to judge Aurelion Soul players on, so fun to see. Not going to have the most backline threat onto Deft, but can boss the mid lane, and Lee Sin and Aurelion Soul as a roaming duo have big gank pressure on the side lanes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of pressure here on Comeback and Helper to get into the back line, get that Kog'Maw isolated and take him out. Let's see if they can do it, see if Ever8 can put a win on the board. Take us to game 3 as we load in for game number 2, KT versus Ever8 winners.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
There we go. KT fans showing up here today. Like you said, school is out for the summer. So even on a nice Thursday afternoon, it's much easier to make your way over to the Seoul East Stadium.
When you say nice, it's getting pretty sweltering, Achilleos, so
I say nice because I know how bad it's going to be. So for now, this is nice.
it's a bright Thursday afternoon, so I think staying inside and getting some air conditioning, watching some esports is not the worst decision. There are those fans out of school, feeling good about it. Get some League of Legends on. So we get to see Aurelion Soul have a day out in the sun as well. At least Comeback has attired appropriately. He's on pool party, Lee Sin.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Even then, I mean, we'll have to take another trip to the water park at some point. Once it gets pretty sweltering out, have a nice day to go cool off.
The 2 in Korea. You came with us to
Ocean World.
But,
I've not been to Caribbean Bay yet.
I went to Caribbean Bay the year previously, and that was, I think, a little bit better. So I'm excited to get there. The weather's in the right spot.
Yeah.
Sadly, everyone's going to be there.
Yeah,
so
that's
might
true.
have to be a Monday trip to
Be crammed.
Caribbean Bay.
Though we did go to Japan, there's plenty of rain there, so I guess it's like the same thing as go to a water park. About the same amount of moisture.
Yeah, Alice and I got to talk about the Japan trip a bit yesterday. What were your takeaways from your first trip to Japan, Seth?
Takeaways is in what did I bring back from Japan, or what was my
We
experience
can get
like?
there, but the experience is the more important part, I would say.
I mean, it was great. I had I had kind of like a checklist of things that I wanted to do while I was in Japan, and I was able to accomplish all of them. So it was pretty nice. I mean, the ramen is as delicious as you would expect, though a little bit pricier than I thought, I will say.
So Comeback had a ward on his red buff put down from KT, and yet he's going red to blue. So there's a bit of information here. I think Kha'Zix is pretty aware.
Yeah, he's got
but
the slide away.
Score doesn't opt into just trading blue buffs. He ends up going topside anyway with double ward and loses a blue kind of under his nose. So Score that's not able to read Hachani that well.
Could just be the triple buff coming through. Maybe even an early handoff over to Septid, if Comeback is feeling so inclined.
I gotta say, if you are able to hit everything on your checklist in 36 hours, you probably need a better checklist, Achilleos.
It was a pretty basic one. I mean, it was a checklist made for a 36-hour trip.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So, you know, arcade, specific games that I wanted to play, food that I wanted to try.
Was it ramen and sushi? I know it was ramen and sushi.
Yeah, you know, it's really good ramen, really good sushi. We were able to get both of those. It was actually, there was way more arcade games that I wanted to try than foods that I wanted to try.
Japanese arcades live up to the hype.
Oh, they really do.
It feels like the heyday of arcades is still alive in Japan, whereas everyone else bought an Xbox 360 onwards and was K.
I mean, being able to go play Mario Kart, you know, against your friends, you know, on network play, that is awesome. The Gundam Pod game, and then my favorite was Sound Voltex, which is a very crazy high-speed rhythm game. Some trading happening in the mid lane.
Playing this very smartly, walking into the circle, but now the exhausted turnaround.
Exhaust comes through. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Septed doesn't want to try to flash in for any sort of play. His comeback is wrapping around. Will get spotted, however, the scrying plant coming down there from Mata, who is already roaming his way up towards that mid lane in case he was needed. So Pawn will stay alive for the moment.
Both of them were playing as if they had jungle attention. Neither of them did. We know that Comeback and Ella, the once support duo, now jungle support duo, investigating around mid lane. Obviously, Septed is happier to take these earlier trades because Aurelion Sol gets back to lane so fast that loses out the least when it comes to being able to take quick trades and force it back.
Yep.
Maybe while Pawn has teleport. Still feeling pretty good, even if your exhaust is down, Septed.
It's down a bit, CS. See how much he can pick up here as it's pushed in underneath the turret at the moment, but comes back into lane, has that Dark Seal ready to go. It's going to be the Chalice coming out here from Pawn.
You sound surprised, but this is very much a Cogmore comp, so
Yeah.
just about getting the Athenes. Not going to be the Crown School of Thought where you just pile on some AP and kill fools in the front line. Very much going to be utility build coming through from Pawn. A lot of those support items do see changes on 7-12, so might have more supportive item discussion with Ardent Sensor and the changes there.
That sentence connects, but Mana has got the Unbreakable, so not going to take too much damage. As they just go ahead and try to keep up in CS. Step doing a pretty decent job here on the Cogwall.
We're still waiting for the first roam mission from Aurelion Sol and Lee Sin, so far denied, but maybe waiting for things like Cataclysm to be available and other pick tools in the side lanes to profit off.
Smeb commanding this top lane at the moment. 15 CS up. Has that Tiamat already set to go, and Helper just trying to drag himself by with the cloth armor and that long sword. So feels bad man so far for the J4.
Big item lead, like you say. Didn't invest into as much regen and Tiamat for the trades, and much happier for the side of Smeb.
Oh, all right. Well, Smeb's doing some work. Comeback's going to roam up here towards the top lane. Can he find any action, though? Scores roaming up towards that Tri-Brush, so maybe they just go ahead and collide. Control Ward will come through. Comeback throwing out
Smeb 6 as
that
well.
Sonic Wave, and yes, Smeb's just going to go ahead, dash in, gets the stun onto Helper as he dashes away. Smeb with Slice and Dice back in. Will force the flash from Helper as he leaps in, but now Comeback's going to be the one going down, flashes away, but still falls. Smeb with the Q takes him down.
Yeah, Smeb just owning up the top lane. This time he gets the counter matchup himself and predictably profits off it. Comeback playing with fire. Could have ward jumped out earlier, could have flashed out earlier. Instead thought he was fine. Good pivot onto the level 4 Lee Sin, take him down. And now suddenly the item lead that was already there gets even bigger from the side of Smeb.
Yeah, this is going to be dirty. Almost has that Phage ready to go. Going opt in for the Black Cleaver. So it is going to be nothing but a pain train coming out of the top lane from Smeb.
You know that Marin was somewhere at home smiling and nodding when you see a big crocodile run wild in the top lane.
Yes, my son. Do my bidding.
Marin would just stop dying, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Brother Marin. From time to time. He goes from being the young to the brother, some, you know, depending on the day.
That's a weird family situation if he
Yeah.
goes from that. From the honorific position to being the brother.
You know, just 3 times removed. Just keep letting him back in.
Well, Comeback's not going to let himself be in any way diminished. We'll go and steal the red buff, so that is a lot of buffs stolen by Comeback, even if the first kill went against him. He's hunting
You take the
Kha'Zix.
good with the bad.
You do. He's hunting Kha'Zix, but Kha'Zix level 6, so this may actually be a poor idea.
It's also Rengar's job. Score will be walking over here, sees that his red is gone. And we'll just spot out Comeback. Jumps over the wall towards that Infernal. Mana roaming up to just go ahead and shoo away that Leech in even further. And Smeb is crushing Helper. who does not have a flash, but nor does Smeb, so doesn't want to pursue underneath the turret without that.
But Smeb does have SKT, Mara, and Renekton. So
He
you know where he's
does.
going. It's only one direction.
Well, there goes the flag and drag. Helper just going to try to
He's
get
not
himself
done
out
yet.
of here. Well, yeah, he's just going to proxy this one. Thought maybe he was going to slice and dice his way through, but only creates so much distance. He's not Yasuo.
So this could have been Rumble, try to be K. Instead, top lane is just completely dominated by KT. That will never change in this particular game. And if Deft starts winning trades against bot lane, things get really comfortable for the side of KT Rolster.
I mean, there's a decent question, actually. The Kog'Maw versus the Xayah, both of them are like, 2-3 item carries. Which one comes out on top?
It's a tough one to evaluate.
Does the root land?
Yeah, that's a factor. The range advantage for the Kog'Maw is there, but the more AoE for the side of the Xayah. Kog'Maw probably will be going for not the Hurricane, for a different particular attack speed Zeal item. So it does feel like maybe Xayah wins that, which is kind of crazy to evaluate. Xayah also has the ultimate to be able to disengage in a way that Kog'Maw doesn't have, but Kog'Maw's laning is surprisingly strong from level 6 onwards, so it's getting painful. And bot lane, top lane is literally just don't even go there.
Twice the amount of CS right now.
You can't even gank this lane. It goes that poorly, so...
It's like, if Smeb has Dominus, he can just 1v2 you.
And he has Dominus.
So, yeah. He can 1v2 you.
I think you need the Dragon and also the Blind Monk top lane to help out. And the moment you send 3 people top lane, you probably lose other stuff on the map. Infernal Drake largely taken because of the amount of pressure that Smeb had over his lane.
Oh, now Score. Pushing up unseen here in this bottom lane. The Blade Caller does connect though, so Duel does go ahead and back off. It seems like Score's just going to go in for the recall. Unless Mata is going to make a nice grand play with that Glacial Fissure.
Jen's toggling vision, but we know there's actually control wards and other deep vision on the red side. Sort of vision that Ever8 were desperate to put down in Game 1 has been easily achieved by how strong Renekton is. Wait and see how many friends they draw in the top lane. If you're wondering about itemization, Sceptid is going to be going for the GLP. Very, very standard on the Aurelion Soul.
Oh, there's going to be a gank in onto Pawn. Throws down the tether. The rest of the team coming through. He gets kicked away from the Voice of Light, but the Cataclysm will finish him off as Helper roamed his way down, but now Smeb looking to find some kills. Dashes straight over into Helper as he flashes away. Takes him down yet again with the help of Score. 2-1. Ever8 do put a kill on the board, but they lose one at the same time.
It's a 1-for-1, and crucially it's Helper. He'll die. The CS lead will grow. Deft casually sidesteps the hook there, and looking for more.
He's flashing in, just goes ahead, locks up, comeback, takes him down. Score now in a bad spot. Celestial Expansion will kill him on the rotation, so another 1-for-1 there in the mid lane, but Smeb just finding an opportunity and going for it. Unfortunately, Score came along for the ride.
But it exacerbates the problem in the top lane, Achilles. If we toggle over to gold at some point, you'll see it's getting to comical levels between the Renekton and the Jarvan.
I mean, this is my solo queue nightmare.
Yeah, he just can't enter lane. He really cannot enter lane at any point against the Renekton, who naturally wins the matchup. And unlike the Kled, he wins it from the start. And if you compare it to the Kled vs Rumble matchup, comes back very close to the Black Cleaver. He is decked with items, and Helper just wants to wave clear, run the hell away.
As you do.
He's rocking out with his croc out, Kilios. Second person who's done that in a week. Marin approved. That's an advanced technique, caster term, because if you ruin it, it's really bad.
Yeah. You gotta really tiptoe around that
You
one.
do. Well,
You got him, Helper.
this game's really silly because no one can go anywhere near the Renekton, so the top side is abandoned from the side of Ever8. Means that Kog'Maw can just chill in the bot lane because everyone else is packing up and trying to help.
Hey, every time the crocodile's on screen, it really can be a nature documentary.
It's a fair point. He's an impressive specimen.
Yeah.
Ever8,
A very well-fed crocodile.
and Ever8 just calling in everyone to try to deal with top lane. They didn't go for a lane swap, which was a possibility for them. We saw them in Game 1 as Red Buff does go to Score.
Oh, and he gets the pop over the wall. Blast Cone right off the back of that leap. Nicely done by him. Takes himself out to safety after finding the buff. And Smeb just waiting in the brush.
This is a real concerning time for Ever8. They didn't want to swap earlier because the Infernal Drake was on the map, and now if they swap, it feels like they will lose even further CS as they trade pressure around lanes. KT could take the Rift Herald at any point, but I think they want more kills, Achilles.
It's seeming that way. Voice of Light coming through here with the stun. Pawn getting knocked back, unable to find that route down on Decepted. No score, can't quite get the entry that he wanted to go for the kill.
Been able to see Decepted leave lane. When you draft the Aurelion Soul into Karma, wave clear from Karma is so strong that they don't have as much latitude to make things happen. Been a bit of a passenger here, even though his kill score looks nice. As I mentioned, the trades get better and better for Kog'Maw in the laning phase, so also the zoning pressure here. They can clear out this control ward and put down deep vision. Smeb could even look to snowball another lane in the manner of the first.
Well, that's going to be a Glacial Fissure coming down. Ella in a bad spot. Featherstorm takes Duel up into the sky, keeps himself safe, but now has to flash away. Deft going forward. Does land that last artillery shot, but the heal comes out and Duel stays alive.
And comeback's there, but late means he's not there to contest the Rift Herald. New to jungling, so can't necessarily be too critical on his pathing, but needs to be in positions to counter-gank or answer aggression when he gets the call from his lanes. And instead just kind of watches and nods his head at Deft and goes, that was some nice trades, guys. Backs away. Now the Crocodile has a Rift Herald, so getting scarier by the moment.
Yep. Go ahead and spot out Helper. Clear out this control ward, perhaps. Smeb doesn't really want to play with fire. Hasn't seen come back in a little while. So, still now we'll be going ahead, pushing forward to get rid of that vision. And Septed is roaming his way up towards the top lane, so maybe we will finally have a gank in onto Smeb. See if they can come up with anything. Death Sentence in onto Mata. The box comes down. Ella just trying to trade in. And that will be the Cataclysm. TP immediately coming out here from Pawn. Smeb, can he stay alive? Goes dangerously low. Voice of Light does not connect. And now the exhaust is down, and Septed will find the kill. Pawn now a bit too far forward, but Helper is low on mana. Has to be careful. His score is now starting to roam up from the river. Comes in, tether down. Stun connects. Pawn going low. Flashes away. Gets himself away from that Celestial expansion. But Septed is still chasing in, trying to get these final hits. Pawn just walks straight up into his face. Gets the heal off the tether yet again. Gets
so
the
close.
lockdown. Can they get the kill? It's so dangerous for both sides as Septed is playing this to a T as well as he possibly could. But Helper with no mana, no HP, just couldn't back him up. Otherwise, that could have been 2 more kills for Ever8.
That was sick stuff from Pawn, playing around the Celestial expansion, avoiding also the stun during the back end of that engage. Pawn's in form, and it's good to see how strong he played that engage. We saw the preview earlier, does it again in that scenario, so they win out in the trade overall, even with Smeb going down. In the bot lane, comebacks here.
And dashing in from behind, looking for the kick. Does find it in on Amada, and the Death Sentence connects down onto Deft. TP coming through, and the Featherstorm thrown out. The root connects onto both of them, but here comes Smeb. Giant Crocodile yet again going in, finds the first kill as he takes out Duel. Now looking for comeback, will get stopped by the Glacial Fissure. It's a double kill going over to Smeb. Death Sentence drags him in underneath the turret, but he still finds the final kill, helping hand it over to Deft, and he walks away with his life against all odds. Now we'll be dropping down the Rift Herald for the casual recall.
In vision, but it doesn't matter. Wanted to get the play with the Rift Herald. That was the real goal in this scenario. Here comes the hit. Able to actually get some damage on it was Ella, so the first hit probably stopped the turret from going down. The Rift Herald probably just used because of cooldown rather than necessarily having the best setup for it. So good job there, Ever8, stopping that one.
But damn good job, Smeb.
You know, he is a monster. He is already 2,500 gold ahead of his opponent, likely to grow that lead, now 4-1, so 4-2. Just a single death.
Oh, Helper.
I mean, Helper, unfortunately, has been dominated by the best top laners, dominated by Mara, now dominated by Smeb. Had options, could have gone for the Rumble, but didn't have confidence in that, and the Jarvan just hasn't been working for Ever8 as a team or for Helper as a player.
Well, at least he got a blue buff. So that's nice. But meantime, Pawn taking out that mid-tier 1. So they didn't get the bottom, but they open up the map even further here in mid. And I mean, realistically, that turret's going to be going down on this next wave anyway.
Well, I mean, no one can enter lane against the Renekton, so certainly not Jarvan. It's going to be third and final outer turret down from KT. This is what they can do from when they're ahead. Counterpoint to Ever8 when they were ahead in the previous game. They push up, they had control wards in the top side. They moved their vision line because they've been playing more around bot side for now. That's where the objective is, so KT will pick that up. It's a Cloud Drake second spawn, which was completely ignored by Ever8, you'll remember, in game 1, but happily take that down, hoping for a better spawn on the next one.
Just going to be another Cloud Drake.
Well, again, kill that one, and guess what, Achilles? Might be an Infernal Drake next. Or the famed triple Cloud.
Or it's the triple Cloud.
I mean, then Renekton gets really fast into range of his stun, so that's happy.
This is true. Oh, yeah, he's got the Titanic Hydra and the Black Cleaver completed. So Smeb's in a good spot.
6,000 gold lead. 2.5, it's 3 item, I guess you would say, completed by Smeb, so that's against half one, maybe? 1.7 items.
TM had Kindle Gem, and now has the Phage ready to go.
Just feels like it's very clear that two have a different budget. One is thrift shopping, the other one has the rich man's items, so yeah, awkward. Pawn can just play the map. We'll have teleport in about 20 seconds time. KT to continue to overtake the bot side of the map. That's been their control zone for now. Not interested in Baron, given that it hasn't spawned, of course. But the Baron vision will start happening soon. Start prepping. Ogmore can do most of that Baron damage.
This has been a great budget telecom war so far, Bob Smithy.
I mean, the budget telecom war is both series together.
The first act is magnificent.
I mean, we don't have a telecom war in the first round robin. What do you want me to do? We were not granted that beautiful bounty. So you get the budget telecom war. Somehow SKT wins, even though the teams aren't playing each other.
Yeah.
Let's do it based on game time, Achilles. Then SKT will probably still win.
Yeah, I think KT have already kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one.
41-minute game 1 is not going to help them.
Not even remotely.
But look at that. Baron spawns, they push up their vision. At the same time, Help is dying.
Smeb does half his rotation. Takes Helper down to half HP.
Smeb doesn't have flash, and Helper does. So hard to actually kill him, and Aurelion Sol's here. Probably just a wave clear.
Yeah, but Smeb has plenty of backup as well. 3 members sitting in this blue side jungle, ready to collapse in. Being needed at the moment. Smeb's still just going to be sticking around, clearing out these waves, just drawing that pressure down to the bottom side of the map, threatening that inner turret.
It's like all we need for the full Smeb soundboard to be complete is the Flame Horizon. Not quite observed yet. Game goes long enough, certainly might happen.
We're getting there.
Just back. Yeah, now Baron vision. This is great vision from the side of KT. Onto the red side jungle. Starting to be cleared, but in so many different spots that vision supremacy is being established by KT Rolster. Karma doesn't offer a lot of Baron damage, but Kog'Maw just play the Ruined King is a good start. And they can 2-man it pretty comfortably here. 3-man with the Karma shield is probably recommended, but if Renekton is ever not parked in bot lane, KT have almost instant Baron killing potential. And Renekton's here, so it must be Baron time, Achilles.
Well, they want to pick at least to enter onto this one. Come back and get locked in, slowed up by the Q from the Braum. One more proc. Look at that concussive blows, but Dark Passage is there to take him out to safety. But they weaken him. They have to send him back to base. KT, do they just want to go ahead and force this one up?
There's a degree of risk. Smeb is below half health, but with the shield, they'll start it up. They've got good speed on it. Comeback did complete. His recall may have been ill-advised.
The rest of the team pinching in. Baron already down to about half HP, falling very rapidly because of this Kog'Maw. Depth is just skirting around the outside of the pit, and that's going to be the smite coming through as they do take this one away. And now KT looking for some kills. Flash for Mana, throws down that Glacial Fissure. Helper will draw out the Cataclysm to at least delay them, but Score has the leap. Go ahead and join back in as Smeb pushes forward. Can't quite find the stun onto anybody, so the rest of Ever8 winners should be able to get out with their lives, at least for the moment. But Baron over to KT.
Mada on Braum due to the second game. He is the one that has to do the initiation himself. Hook very close to catching Pawn, but doesn't. Meantime, though, the Baron is observed. Comeback probably had to stick around and go for a very low chance, but still possibility of a steal. Score 2 levels up on his old KT teammate.
Comeback hovering around as they get ready to look forward, but could get pinched on as Pawn comes around the side. We'll find him. Score leaping in now. Kick Comes down, TP out from Helper as he tries to join in the fray, but come back going low. The heal out from Duel does help keep him alive. Drag in on to score. As that resonating strike ready to go, and Smeb just goes ahead, deletes comeback in the backside of the fight, and Pawn is able to exit safely using those shields and the speed up, and oh my goodness, Smeb.
Here we see the crocodile in its natural habitat. He goes forward, hunting his prey. He tries to get away as much as possible, but the jaws of the crocodile are too strong. They bite down as the animal tries to get out, but it's only a matter of time.
Well, I seem to have found an exit path that time, Achilles. We watch on the other side, and maybe someone else will get a kill involvement. When Duel died instantly on the back end of the fight, I think that was actually time for either Yakety Sax or your best David Attenborough impression. This game has been over since Smeb got the solo kill, it feels like. That's the pinpoint for the VOD.
Yep. Well, 10.2 thousand gold lead.
It was 7 before, it's 10,000 now.
Yep. So what did you get at Japan? I got some cool stuff.
We both bought some vintage games, that was fun.
Yeah. I got Pokemon Yellow, Silver, and Pinball with the Rumble pack, all in the original packaging.
Yeah, the pinball one in mint condition was actually really cool. I was a bit jealous of that purchase. I bought LOL.
Yep.
That's the name of the game I bought. It's a Dreamcast game from 2000, Lack of Love.
I mean, arguably finding a case copy with install discs for League of Legends at this point is actually pretty hard.
I mean, honestly, one of the coolest thing about the actual jewel case is that it says LOL in Japanese on the side. Ever8, technically, but still cool to see. But that's a cool game that I played when I was a lot younger. I was a Dreamcast fan, so no one liked me. I didn't have any friends. Feels bad, man. Everyone had a PS2.
I was a Dreamcast fan, but I never owned one. But I had friends.
So like most people,
I had friends that owned them. But my parents were the ones that were, let's buy the big name console for him for Christmas, you know, that sort of thing. So no one knew the Dreamcast. Pawn, well, he's gonna get jumped on. The shields are keeping him alive for so long. Does he actually make it out of here? No, the Featherstorm from Duel will take him down to the end, but now Smeb has arrived in the backside of the fight. Will actually fall as Ella, of all people, does find this kill. And KT maybe getting a little bit too frisky, except it pushes forward. Voice of Light gonna be flashed away by Depth. Fancy footwork there. Takes himself out to safety and he fires back, takes down the Dragon. Another looking for a little bit more. So a bit rough to start for KT on that fight, as Score will get popped out of his GA. But Duel will be the lone remaining member of Ever8 as he limps back into the base.
At the start of a game like this, you can afford to make some Rambo plays in a team fight and still come out just fine. Probably going to break the base in this push. Don't actually have any minions to tank it just yet. They had to move away. Let the minion line get in the right spot. Deft is already super scary on the Kongwa, even without his pocket karma.
Just pushing forward, chunking out comeback. Couple more shots would kill him, and good lord. Deft, an absolute monster, as you would expect. They go ahead, they finish off. And Pawn just using the TP there for a second.
Deft, I think, just read the game, understood that it was probably going to end soon, and went for 2-item power spike with the Rage Blade second. Does give you a lot of early power, even if it doesn't scale. We're seeing a replay as Pawn just jumped up, died, while we were waiting for Smeb to come through.
Look how long he lived, though.
Well, that is the thing about Karma with a lot of AP and shooting items. Smeb dies in the crossfire as well, but you can make those mistakes when Deft is fed, when the Kha'Zix is doing well. Really nice flash from Deft to stop him going down in any sort of burst.
Oh.
The snare coming through actually stopped Ella from hitting that hook. That was interesting. Well, this is Smeb going for an old school build. He decided that he's crushing enough to buy a Yoma's Ghostblade. Needed more armor penetration, it turned out.
I want the Giant Spell to go into a Warmogs for the hell of it.
Deadman's Plate would allow him to get even faster into a fight to instantly kill someone.
This is true.
That's where I would land on the Giant's Belt side of things. It's a silly game, but a silly game of Smeb's making. He was the star in this particular one. Will win MVP, you'd have to imagine.
Definitely seems that way. Just drawing
Well,
so
how
much
many
pressure.
people does it take to kill Smeb?
Well, right now they're trying it with 3, but he's just going to flash the wall and slice and dice away. Blast cone for good measure. So, it seems like more than 3 is the answer.
Actually, interrupt
Now
on the
Sept
E
in a
there.
bad spot. The Glacial Fissure coming through, but the Dark Passage just take him out.
He had his flight interrupted, which means that KT will be able to push in this minion wave. Not big enough to actually get a turret from this particular push, but KT looking to end this one.
And there's so much pressure being drawn out in that bottom side of the map from the super creeps, so they will be able to go ahead and break the space as Smeb just keeps on steamrolling up the top lane.
No one wants to enter that lane. Least of all, Helper, who is 3 levels down. Trying to get range. Okay, they get on death.
That's going to be the Cataclysm coming down to come back and Helper go forward, but they're taking so much damage. His depth is over the wall, keeping himself safe. Helps come up with 1 kill as Pawn finds it. He'll just go ahead and double down the Mantra Q to finish off the J4 as they go in looking for the rest of the squad. Smeb now pinching down from above. Will not be able to find a way into the fight, but this should just about be the end of it unless Septed and Duel can put on some big heroics to delay this game.
Kilios, when Lee Sin and Jarvan engaged, usually it's Jarvan who's the one who is helping, and his literal name is Helper, but actually it was Comeback kicking Kog'Maw to safety over the wall. That meant that Kog'Maw was able to free hit. This game will mercifully for the side of Ever8 end. Slightly better than their game against SKT game 2, but not much better.
Yeah, he chose his name ironically.
I mean, in Korea, we know that helpers are the word for macros or illegal extra programs. So
that's true. He's definitely not using any of those. If there was any doubt in your mind, it can be taken away.
Keep that clip for the future.
Because if you're cheating and this is happening, then, well, you invested poorly.
Maybe the experiment with comeback into the jungle role was perhaps optimistic against KT Rolster.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're playing against somebody like EBQ, sure, MVP, sure. I mean, that one already happened, but still, you know, you get my point. You play against another bottom-of-the-barrel team, then, yeah, you can go ahead. You know, say, oh, Johnny, go ahead. Go crazy. Go in the jungle. Go face check some brushes.
Just in case you wondered, can confirm that the Fame Horizon was reached in this game by Smeb, who has everything.
I mean, he started off the game doubling his CS.
Yeah.
Now has the Horizon ready to go. But here we go. Hail Mary play perhaps from Ever8. Duel already having to flash away. Step does go dangerously low. Flag and frag not quite going to come through, but he still goes down. Septed finishing him off the backside of the fight, but Smeb's going forward. Already has the double kills. He finishes off. Will get the triple. Can he get the quadra?
Skull wants to kill his old teammate.
Can he go ahead and pinch over and get this? Smeb is there to pick up the pieces. Gets one final hit in, and the super creeps do the rest. Quadra kill over to Smeb, the closing of the game here at 30 minutes. And KT Rolster, much more convincing overall compared to game 1. Smeb, well, he's going to have to wipe Ever8 off the bottom of his shoe because he just stomped.
Yeah, the Goomba Stomp was real from Smeb in particular. Such a counterpoint to game 1 where Ever8 got a lead, didn't quite know how to close it out. Didn't take any Drakes, and then just lost out because they couldn't make the big play around Baron that they wanted. In game 2, KT got all advantages all across the map, largely because of how much pressure Renekton had over Jarvan. Smeb, given the counter pick, after being counter picked in game 1, put it to good use, strapped his team on his back, and it was superhero Smeb in game 2, which, like you say, is a bit of a departure, especially from the first few weeks when Smeb was one of the passengers. Smeb looks good, the rest of KT look good. Still things to VOD review from game 1, but largely the series we expected for KT Rolster.
Yep. So very nicely, you know, just clean and concise there in game number 2. So just picking up the win. Helper. That's got to be a bit of a mental shock after the stomp that he just went through by the hand of Smeb, who you would expect is going to be winning MVP for that performance on the Renekton.
He won the game, so whether he wins MVP or not, he was the difference between the two teams in this particular game. No coming back when you had no top lane, as I realize how awkward the sentences involving helping and comeback are with the particular lineup from Ever8. But Ever8 winners, you know, this continues a now extending losing streak for them. They're not quite at the level of MVP. That's not something you want to aspire to. But Ever8 winners since SKT have largely been broken.
It used to be. Yeah. It used to be something you'd want to aspire to as Ever8.
A team that came from Challenger and then wanted to push for the top. That was the MVP before, and now it's losing 12 games in a row.
Yeah. Such a turnaround. In the worst way possible. But that man right there on your screen doing some work, looking like his former self. You know, the guy that we touted as the best player in the world going into Worlds 2016. Returning to form and looking like he may be able to try and earn that title yet again.
You just wonder how Ever8 will turn it around. You know, this was the stacking the lineup with experience, and sure, it wasn't a match they expected to lose, but they'll probably have to run it again. They have very important matches coming up where they'll need to win Smeb may have been the star, but he didn't do all the damage. That was Cogmore's story this game.
As you might expect, yeah. 27 coming through there, so almost very close to 1,000 DPM there from the side of Deft. Very nicely played by him, but Smeb coming out 18.7k on that Renekton. Very solid and very far ahead of his lane opponent.
And Ever8's last match of the first round robin will be on Tuesday, just before the Telecom War. It'll be Ever8 versus Rox Tigers. Must win for both teams to get them off the bottom of the table as, yep, it was Smeb for MVP.
Well, that's going to be Smeb actually tying for first place. Four-way tie now between himself, BDD, Cuvée, and Pawn. So, Crown slipping down into that 5th place tie, but big performances from these guys up here, all at number 1. We'll see who can take the lead, who's going to be that regular split MVP at the end of it, because it's a tight race.
Smeb looking to back up his double MVP performance last year. He's had the down games, but in the games where he's played well, sometimes he just decides them himself. In games like this, knew exactly the limits of Renekton in a way that few top laners can. His teleports were on point. The top lane was complete no-go zone for Ever8 winners, and yeah, you can't really say enough nice things about Smeb for Game 2.
Yeah, beautifully done. The whole team working together very well. Deft, that's, you know, probably 2nd place MVP shout out. I guess you'd have to give him on that Cogmall because it was a very good performance from him as well. But Ever8 winners couldn't find it at the end of the day and come back. Not the best debut you could have had in the jungle, but stage was set against him, and it played out exactly as we had anticipated.
Seeing the Crocodile come into fight, so already 6, 7, 10,000 gold leads around this point of the game. People dying in an instant. I don't know if we'll get a replay of Comeback's I'm helping moment with the Lee Sin, but didn't know how thick the wall was and put the Cogmore to safety. This is the frontline Renekton in a fight where Cogmore died first in a comp built to protect Cogmore. It really doesn't matter when the Renekton is ungodly fed and full of damage.
And that's just the thank you. Winions for the quadra kill. Couldn't quite have the penta, wasn't in position, but if he had been, he would have had the damage to secure it. So very nicely done by Smeb. He's going to be our double MVP, so we get a solo interview with the man. So let's go ahead, throw it over to Joel for the translation. Joel, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations. And Ever8 winners could not find any wins this time around because KT with Rolster do pick out a 2-0 victory against these guys. And we are here with the only MVP who pulled out the victory for KT Rolster. We have Smeb for the interview. Smeb, congratulations. How do you feel right now? I don't know, it's just been such a long time that I got a solo MVP interview, so I don't know what to feel. And we got the report that you weren't feeling that well with you being a little sick right now, but how do you feel right now? Yeah, I'm still feeling a pretty bit sick right now, but it feels better that, you know, I got the solo MVP. Did you ever expect that you were going to get the solo MVP today? Yeah, after getting the first MVP and with the second game going so well for me individually, I knew that I was going to get it. It's actually been a week since KT last played any series. And it felt like, you know, a lot of people were criticizing whether, you know, KT will be able to retain this form that they've been having, a good one that has been recently. But how has it been? Actually, I felt like that rest, that 1 week break actually got us stronger because, you know, we had time to, you know, recover from all the things that we've, you know, gone through, and just the time to, you know, settle back and time to get a little bit of rest actually helped us a lot. Yeah, I always felt that I was alright. I don't know about my teammates, but I felt alright. And it felt like, you know, Ever8 winners brought out a strong composition forming around the mid lane, trying to push down push down Pawn for most of the part. We do have a video highlight of that. And this is where the 1v1 top lane matchup really helped out Pawn and the rest of the team. Yeah, this was a situation where Kled lost his passive and I had my equalizer on, so I could have went for the aggressive damage trade out, but you know, I felt like I was able to get the kill, but it was kind of close at the end.
그렇죠. 그 심리전이. 네, 그래서 1세트에 보면 이제 탑 럼블을 선픽을 했는데 여전히 럼블은
And you guys went with the first pick Rumble this time around. Do you guys still prioritize the Rumble pick? Yeah, I felt like, Rumble is still a very top priority pick in the top lane, but also at the same time, Helper is a big Rumble user, so I want to take that away from him. And it seemed like, you guys were really going back and forth and throughout the game, but the big fight rose around the Baron. Yeah, it has been such a long time since we were in such a disadvantageous situation where, we had to do something to come back from this game, but that was a really startling moment for us. We have a video highlight of that Baron fight around there. And we felt like the equalizer was on point on that occasion. Yeah, I think Pawn really set up the play really well, allowing such an easy equalizer to go in. Is there any tips on how to use equalizer that well? You shouldn't try to use the equalizer as an initiation tool, but you always should follow up with the other initiation from your teammates. So that's the best way to use the equalizer. And we want to move on to game 2. And it felt like, Renekton was one of those picks that, gets a good advantage in the early game, but it usually falls off in the mid to late game. But it seemed like it lasted throughout the game. Yeah, the criticism with Renekton being, not as good as in the mid to late game is kind of true, but getting the Black Cleaver and getting that health bonus along with the damage, it allows you to sustain your power level near the end. So those are the kind of the combos that I go with Renekton. And it seems like all the Renekton users use the SKT Renekton skin, but is there a special reason for that? I think it looks the coolest. And Marin was a very celebrated Renekton player, so I just wanted to get some of that energy from using that skin. We want to see how the top lane fell apart starting from this play. We felt like the trade-out shouldn't be as this advantageous for you guys. Yeah, I think, some of the plays went well and, I had some fortunate breaks here and there. I think that's what got my advantage. And one of the really highlights of today's series was that Comeback went to jungle and was facing off against literally his former teammate and Score. But was there any special thoughts behind that? Yeah, we were actually asking Score before the game, what if Comeback, came out as jungle today? We were actually surprised to see him actually come out as jungle, but we felt like we were very unstartled by just how we played the game overall. And there was a situation with the Kuro 1000 kill video. If you guys haven't seen that, you can see that. But it was a mention of Kuro saying Smeb's Cyan wasn't that good. No, I think Kuro with the Cyan, the reason we had him there in the mid lane was because he's really good at getting hit and getting beat on and bashed on. So that's kind of what we put him there. That was no reason with my part. And do you have any last words you like to say to your fans regarding your future matches? Yeah, it feels like our team is on a good run lately, and we want to really continue on with this because we know that we're capable of getting good results near the end. And so we just ask the fans to continue to support for us, as you guys have always been. And we will continue to work hard for you guys. And that seems to be the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. So, I mean, yeah, they play around the idea. Like, maybe we will see a comeback in the jungle today. They get it, and, well, they absolutely crush him there in Game 2. Did less damage than Ella on Thresh.
They didn't really kind of add color there and suggest whether they were sniggering or not as they came up with that thought. In the end of the day, Ever8 put up a really good fight against KT Rolster in game 1. Had control of the game, couldn't quite close it out, couldn't get the Baron. They invested everything to take. Predictably, KT team fought their way to victory in the late game, but game 2 was a slaughter. It was 30 minutes, but it felt like it could have been shorter given they were so far ahead, and Ever8 winners now because they've played more games than MVP are rooted to the bottom of the table.
Yeah, do have 8 games in, just 7 for MVP, but very well could see them end up back in that 10th place spot. But for now, the bottom of the table is very well fleshed out. We know who to expect for the remainder of this split. More than likely, unless some massive turnarounds happen. Speaking of which, Rocks Tiger is going to have an opportunity for that, perhaps, if they can take a game, or if not the set off of SK Telecom, would be the upset of the century or the month, whichever you want to go with. But Mickey versus Faker, like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, always a treat to watch if Mickey's on form. So that could be a fun one, but very much expecting another 2-0 here today. Close out for a very early night.
Yeah, I mean, the Rocks Tiger is definitely the strongest of the teams at one match win, but it's SKT, so going to be a big ask there. Expecting it to be a 4-game night, but please do join us. Maybe we'll see some craziness. We almost got it in game 1, so who's to say?
Nearly there, but because we ended so early, it's just 7:02 p.m. here in Korea.